Father, we come before you and we just thank you, Lord, and give you all the praise for today and every day. We ask, Lord, that you would keep us safe, help us to make good decisions, Lord, that's best for the Cherokee Nation and Cherokee people. We love you, and most of all, we thank you for your Son, Jesus. And we ask all these things in his name. Amen.
Shelley, would you do roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Mike Shambaugh,
Here.
Harley Buzzard, Keith Austin, Joe Bird, Julia Coates, Sean Crittenden, Joe Deere, Mike Dobbins, Kanan Duncan, Rex Jordan, Daryl Legg, Wes Nowfire, Dora Petzkowski, Mary Baker Shaw, E.O. Smith, Janice Taylor, Victoria Vasquez. We have a quorum.
Okay. If you all have had a chance to look at the minutes, could I have a motion to approve? All right. All those in favor? Against? Okay, we have it. All right, let's start with our reports. Human Services, Jennifer Kirby, are you here? She is. That's good. That's good to have them here.
Hello.
Hey, Jennifer.
So you have the report. Do you have any questions on our regular monthly report?
Does anybody have any questions for Jennifer?
I just have a comment. Jennifer, there was a lady who needed her heat and air went out Thursday or Friday, and you guys looked for her over the weekend, and we finally took care of her today. I want to thank you for that. She was in dire need to get some air conditioning to her
Yeah.
house, so thank you.
Yeah, I'll let the staff know, and they always try to answer those as fast as possible. 'Cause-
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And you've done the same for some people in my district, too. Thank you very much.
Yes, the staff really get on it, and we're very fortunate to have the staff that we have.
Anybody else?
Right.
EO?
Well, the clothing voucher and the coat, will that come through the same portal?
Yes, so we are working on it, working the details out. Just keep encouraging your constituents to get on the portal. Any information will be coming through that avenue as well. So it is coming, so just watch for it.
Okay.
And whenever you decide to do that, would you let us know that? Because I've had several calls about that, too.
Absolutely,
Okay.
yes.
Sean?
I better jump on there with thanking you about air conditioners and stuff, so you've done a good job on that. The clothing voucher, there was some sharing last year's information on social media.
Yeah,
That was rough there. But, so you'll just let us, it'll be on the portal, just like the COVID impact had a red banner up there. There'll be something that says clothing voucher, apply for, right, on the
yeah,
portal.
and, yeah, I hope so, and then the application will be accessible through the portal. I know there will always be those exceptions of people that don't have access. We'll manage those.
We're working on that, though.
Yeah,
So, but we're gonna try to get as many as we can through that,
yes.
probably before the paper ones, right?
Yes, yes. I mean, they'll initially, if this all works out the way, it will come through the portal, yes. We'll come through the portal first, and then we'll work to kind of get a game plan on how to manage those that don't have access.
Yeah, this, just the COVID money, of course, there's people that don't have internet, and, you know, the elders and things, and I've seen a few blanket statements. What about those people? Well, I've been telling them, hey, we're gonna get to them, but if you know an elder in need, not just what about the whole world of them, but
Right.
if you know one, you know, try to help them. And,
Yes.
you know, and we will too, and we'll get to them. So I can see the clothing voucher moving towards that someday too. I used to be a big opponent of that idea, but with the portal, man, it's just,
Yeah.
and that's where everything's going, right?
Yeah,
And so I'm gonna try to get most of mine to get on there, and of course, we're all gonna be
Yeah.
helping those that, you know, fall through the crack. But I appreciate what you're doing so far, Jennifer.
And we have a team, we're on a team site, where we can work with IT, on a instant message basis when we have questions, because a lot of our staff in our area, our field offices are, set up to where they can help people that don't have access, to kind of manage and navigate that, and we're able to communicate with IT instantaneously. So that's another step that we've made towards trying to rectify some of these questions.
Now, excuse me, and if we kind of move toward that, the portal, heavier than what we are right now, moving towards it, you wouldn't be opposed to having these community meetings where we help those folks, right? Get the clothing voucher. Hey, we're gonna be at Barron, Oklahoma on this night, and helping you apply for the clothing vouchers through the portal. I mean, that's always gonna be an option, right?
Well, I can't speak over the larger programming side, but I think the intention is to make things easier like that and to navigate things through the portal. So I would imagine that just like with the clothing voucher, we're moving towards
Right,
that.
and
Yep.
if I'm gonna really campaign on that deal, that's some of the things that I'd have to have is work that out later. But,
Yeah.
Have different sites where we'll help them, like we have been with the COVID money.
Right, and they're doing a lot of that right now. Yeah,
So
yeah.
the clothing vouchers, everybody works hard on it, but we kind of, I'm looking forward to seeing how we do it.
I think we're getting better every year, so,
Thank you.
thank you.
Just a quick follow-up to that. If and when we get to do community meetings, I mean, because we invite all different kinds of people to our community meetings with, to register people and things like that. Would you be willing to send some people up during community meetings like that? And so if we have people that need help, they could get help from a computer?
Oh, yes, that's always kind of been our intention whenever we go to community meetings, is to help people navigate the programs, and that way when they're able to come in during business hours, they pretty much know what all the documents they need to have and things of that nature. So I think once that opens back up, staff will be more than happy to get out and come and see people again.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Second that, Sean. Mary?
Hi, Jennifer.
Hi.
Jennifer, on these clothing vouchers, where are the vouchers going to be to?
So in the past, we've done a little bit of, the most recent thing that we've done is like a convenient card payment, or a convenient card, which would be a payment that they could use anywhere. I suspect that if we do the card again, I don't think it'll be to a specific entity. I think it will be up to their discretion to use it where they need it to go, so.
I like that. A few years ago, they were using Stage, and yet
Yeah.
there wasn't a Stage in every county.
Yes, yes.
And that put a lot of our students at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad to hear that is being considered, that where they can use it, where they can use it easier.
Yeah, it will be, I anticipate to be used at what store they need to go to or what store they choose.
Okay, thank you so much.
Anybody else? Keith?
Jennifer, at your food distribution, I'm getting calls, though, but we're close to Collinsville where I live, and the folks have been very appreciative of them staying open throughout, but they really missed being able to go in and actually pick out their own groceries.
Yes.
So that they can make the decisions if something's not there, what they want to replace it with and
Yeah.
so forth, instead of getting the surprises that
Yes,
it's so much better when you get to pick things out.
yeah.
Do we have a knowledge of when we can start telling the folks that they can start doing the way that it used to be?
Going shopping. So, nothing's been set in stone yet. I think we were kind of waiting through the summer, kind of giving people time, get the vaccination rates up, get some of those things in place. We don't have a definite date yet, but But if someone is having a concern about what they're getting or they have too much of something, please encourage them to talk to us and our management, and we can possibly, maybe if it's allowable, switch something out, a little different. But I would say probably after the summer, we might be working towards letting them get back in the store.
Well, may I respectfully suggest that since we let constituents into our healthcare facility and into the main, into this facility and into just about every other office, if they have a mask on, why can't they, that if they will wear a mask, that they could come in and pick out their own groceries, because it's not a high volume location. That's just my suggestion.
No, I appreciate
I'd
that.
like you to advocate for that.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and, but we also have to look at our staffing patterns to clean continuously, and also, just limiting the number of people that can come in at any one time. So, sometimes you have to weigh how fast that they can do that when limited in space versus how fast they do if we're shopping for them and sending it out. So we kind of have to weigh the two as far as how many we can serve in a day.
I
But-
hear you. I hope
yeah.
you hear me, though.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Because it's just a matter of people, dignity of being able to go in and actually pick up what you want matters to people.
I understand.
Anybody else? Yes, sir.
On the window unit I mentioned earlier, the lady is asked to come and pick it up at Human Services today. I'm not for sure she's able to do that. I just
Okay.
got a text. that
Okay,
she-
I will find out,
Okay.
hopefully.
Yeah, because sometimes
get that.
you may have to alter the window just a little bit, so it probably needs to be somebody that's knowledgeable how to do those window units, because I've tried to help people before, and it's not just sticking that air conditioner in that
Right.
window sometimes.
Right.
A little bit, sometimes you can get away with it, but then most of the time, you gotta adjust a few things. Would you please look at that?
Yes,
Okay. Ray has that information.
okay, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. Do you know if these are actual window units? I called the housing, and they have an indoor unit, one of those oscillating ones, but you have to vent it out the window. Are you using those, or the actual you stick in the window?
We're doing the old-fashioned
Yeah.
window unit, yeah.
Yeah.
I
I know
have to
housing
stick 'em.
has the other kind, and I have no clue how they're vented out the window, but it sounds cool, so.
Well, and the thing of it is we don't have any staff that are designated or that have the specific job of installing them. So usually we have to ask them to look to their family members or their neighbors to help them install those window units, so.
Okay. Anybody else? Darrell?
Could our emergency evening crew with the Housing Authority maybe come by and put that window unit in that you're donating?
So
Jerry?
we would have to talk to Jerry about, before I volunteer her staff
Yeah.
to do that.
She's sitting out there. We're waiting, Jerry.
Yeah. She'll be coming up in a minute, and you,
Anybody else? All right. Thank you, Jennifer.
thank you.
You have a good evening. Michael Lynn, come on down. Yep, that's a good idea. I'm sure they could.
Good afternoon. You have a copy of our report, but if I could, I'd like to just touch on a couple of items before we ask or respond to any questions. As per the Man-Killer Soap Water Act that was passed recently, we did complete and obtain the Cherry Tree Rural Water District Comprehensive Engineering Report. As noted in the Water Act, a copy of that was delivered to the Speaker of the Council here, as well as Principal Chief, so that has been taken care of. Staff in the environmental health programs have been attending or helping put on rabies clinics. They did a rabies clinic in Miami here recently. They gave 260 rabies vaccinations. They've got them planned in Stillwell, Jay, Salina, and Salisaw at various dates. So all the way up into September is the last one in Salisaw. We attended a ribbon cutting recently for the Stillwell Water Tower Rehabilitation Project. If you might saw any of those pictures on social media, that water tower turned out exceptionally good. I got strawberries painted on one side and a Cherokee Nation seal on another, so it looks really good. One thing I want to mention on the transportation side, we recently applied for Tribal Transportation Program safety funds. Those funds were applied for a roundabout in Kansas, Oklahoma. We were working with ODOT on a cooperative project there in Kansas on the 59 and 10 highway for a roundabout. We were approved for that, and that project is beginning to move forward. We've been in discussions with ODOT right now, and you should be seeing more or hearing more about that in the coming months. That's really all I had to report, Mr. Chair, and I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions for Michael? Okay, Michael, we have any input on road issues for Michael? Joe Deere.
You got any updates on the signage from those guys?
From Tulsa County?
Yeah.
No, I do not. We'll have to follow up with them on that. Just make sure I'm clear, you're talking about the reservation signage?
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
I know we had talked to ODOT about that originally, and we're still waiting to hear back from them as well, as not just Tulsa County, but for the whole reservation.
Right.
So I know that conversation is still ongoing, but we'll touch base with Tulsa County Commissioners and on that area specifically.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Jerry.
Yes, sir. Anybody have a question for Michael anymore? All right, thank you, sir.
Very good. Thank you all.
Jerry Killer. Hey, Jerry, is Jennifer still here? Okay. Hey, Jennifer, if you can hear me, I need to speak with you after the meeting. All right, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hey, Jerry.
You all have my report. Does anyone have any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Jerry Joe Deere?
We had some projects before COVID and some like senior housing in different areas. They were like sort of construction projects, ramps, and drainage issues. That was back when Gary was here. You know when you're gonna start looking at that, working on those?
Are you talking about on at our apartment units or?
No, at the
just-
senior housing areas. They were working with Mike Lynn to fix some issues.
Let me check on that because I'm not familiar with what that is.
Okay, I can resend you those emails if you need that to catch you up.
Yes, that would be
If
great.
that'll help, and then I'll tag Mike in it.
Yeah, that would be great.
All right, thanks.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? EO?
On your after-hour repairs, that's been a big hit, hasn't it?
Yes, it has been, yes.
Well, it's been such a big hit, you think we'll be expanding it, or can it cover it right now? The summer coming up.
As of right now, we have funding to get us through December. So that, we're good for right now.
I know every time I've called, well, people call back and said they were really good and were very nice.
Good, good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Darrell?
Jerry, do you think that idea that we just pitched out might work, where if they could provide the air conditioner unit for a window, if there wasn't nobody that could put it in, could that emergency evening crew go do it?
They could, if they're eligible for it. So as long as they are Cherokee and as long as they are the homeowner, then yes, we could do that. A lot of times with Human Services, they're able to assist people who are renting, and that's where we would get into some issue where we wouldn't be able to help in a renter situation.
And you would not be able to help because they're paid for out in the HOSDA funds, your staff, or do you have any staff that are
No,
on this crew?
This particular funding it's not an AHOSDA-funded program. This is through CARES, and the way the grant was written, it's for homeowners.
I got you. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I would like to make a suggestion that we get a crew that could go to anybody's home that we call for. I think that would be, if that would be something that we would want to do to expand this, that way we wouldn't have a limitation, just
Yeah.
for emergency type situations.
Right.
You
Yep.
know,
Go ahead, Canaan.
I think it's a great idea too, but I will say, Jerry, for example, just today I had one that was in that same boat, but we have our emergency travel dollars over there with her, so I was able to purchase an AC for him out of that.
But who wouldn't put it in? That's what I'm talking,
I
I'm
don't-
not talking about buying it.
Yeah.
I'm talking about physically putting it in for an elder.
Gotcha. So in that instance, Jerry, can your staff go and put that in?
Of after hours or during
No, in the
hours?
instance of using the travel emergency dollars.
So when we're using your tribal emergency dollars, yes, it's my staff that is going to put it in, and all of that's being charged back to your budget. You're welcome.
Okay.
Joe?
Hey, Jerry, could we maybe use housing rehab and add a line item for that specifically? You know, like they have those contractors over there, and they can assign those jobs to them. That way you have an actual bid price on the labor, just to install if we're gonna have a lot of extra stuff like that, and do it that way.
So if you're talking about going through housing rehab, then you're going to get a whole lot more restrictions on that.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm saying you could at least get a line item for that if it comes into that.
A line item for it to come out of your budget?
Or however we can make it work. I mean, that way, because they have plenty of contractors, and if you have one in Salisaw and then you have one in Doors District, that's two different people to install it.
Right.
So I was just trying to short line it, maybe going through them guys to use that.
But
'Cause
is
they have-
rehab all Nahasda money, right?
Rehab is primarily Nahasda money. There is a little bit of tribal money that you do give me every year.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We probably need to discuss all that. I mean, that's a good idea, and yeah, that can be discussed.
Maybe appropriate some more money for her to figure out how to get that done.
Yeah. And from where, and
Right.
the parameters of it. That
Yep.
sounds good. Sean?
All right, thanks.
I know Diane's probably watching this and needs another iron or two, but, you know, that is a logical, training. And you could throw wood stove installation, propane heater installation, and, just the big picture. Of course, everybody here, understands that, I mean, this summer snuck up on me. And, you know, 3 days, it's just like in a totally different place, but this is the season, of course, and, you know, I don't know the day worker, you know, there'd be some liability with the, you know, hooking one up and stuff, but big picture, I mean, we gotta figure out something for now, but I think Diane be able to get us some trained up and, something that way. She might be throwing darts at the screen right now, but I'll help any way I can. Thank you.
Well, I believe the next 7 days, you're talking 95 a couple of days, 93, 92, that's hot, and it's humid. It's going to have that 100-degree heat index, and a house with no air conditioning that'd be a bad deal for even one day. Go ahead.
Just a follow-up too, and I know, you know, most of the time, not every time, but most of the time, there's family, friends, neighbors, a local church, that if we can just get it to them, it's been my and yours experience that if we can just get them to them, that's their biggest hurdle. And then if by golly, there's no way to do it, of course, we've all probably went out and done something like that before, but just, anyway, it's that time of year, isn't it? But thank you for that follow-up, Chair.
Anybody else? All right, Jerry. Thank you, and have a good evening.
Thank you.
Anna Knight, here she comes.
Good afternoon.
Anna,
You have a copy of my report, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
does anybody have any questions for Anna? Joe Dia.
Sorry. Hey, Anna, I was asked today again, for startup businesses, are you having some kind of grant or loan program for them for the small businesses?
We do have a loan program for startup, small businesses, yes.
Okay.
And we cover the entirety of the 14 counties, so we cover all of Tulsa, all of Muskogee.
Okay. And I would guess that application is online?
Yes, a business plan outline, yes.
Right.
And then we have business coaches that'll help them complete their business plan and complete the application.
Okay. Do you have any training classes or anything for them?
We haven't had any classes in some time. Usually we just handle it one-on-one. That seems to be the most effective way of doing that.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank-
Doc?
Anna, do we have loan programs for established businesses?
Yes, our commercial loan programs are for startups and expansion, stabilization, just about anything. Our maximum is about 500,000, and we make loans for as small as 1,000.
What would be a good go-to number for me to refer a constituent to?
You can refer them to my number, and then I can connect them with one of our business coaches.
Okay. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Chair.
Yes, sir. And Anna, are these new programs, or are these the same programs that we've had?
These are the same programs that we've had.
Okay. Anybody else have a question for Anna? All right. Thank you, ma'am. Have a good evening.
You too.
Okay, old business, none pending, new business, number one, Darrell, would you? Okay, Kana, would you take number one?
Yeah, this is a resolution adopting the Kansas Intersection Safety Improvement Project as a priority for tribal transportation program safety funding. Put that in the form of a motion.
And I believe, basically, there was deemed a need for that, so we put in for this grant. We got it, and basically, they're going to be able to turn around there. So it's at the intersection of Old 412 and 59, so just north or south of the turnpike. So, all right, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? Carries. All right, Darrell, number two.
Department of Housing and Urban Development for the 2021 Indian Housing Block American Rescue Plan, IHBG ARP funding, and I put that in form of a motion.
Okay, and I believe this Indian Housing Block Grant is the approval for us to apply for the grant. It says ARPA because the block grant has ARPA funds related, but it's different than our $1 billion funding. So, just for clarification. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Second? I mean, opposed? Huh. I was already thinking ahead. All right. Okay, and both of those need to go to full council tonight. 2 and 3. All right, number 3, Joe Deere.
This is a resolution approving and authorizing submission of the fiscal year 2022 Indian Housing Plan to the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. I put that in the form of a motion.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Opposed? All right, and 2 and 3 need to go to full council tonight. All right. Are there any announcements? No announcements. The next meeting is tentatively scheduled for Monday, July 12th at 4 p.m. Could I have a motion to adjourn? And a second. All right, we're adjourned.